Wowzers! I did not know I was that smooth at dancing. Greetings, comrades, and hello everyone, I'm Quint866, and this is me talking about my favorite game franchise ever for the PlayStation. Not like, favorite game ever of all time, no, I honestly prefer other games that are on different systems, but as of the PlayStation, my favorite game franchise is a questionable choice for some people, but for me, I think it's an underrated gem. Considering that it got 5 games, and a couple spin-offs in the process as well. Sadly, however, the 5th game was exclusive to arcade, and I don't have any way of playing it because there's no arcades where I live anymore. Meh. Well, anyways, the game is Time Crisis, and if you see my older channel, you probably would have seen that coming. However, I never went into depth why I like Time Crisis, and I know I'll admit I did have a video where I talked very abruptly about it, but I really want to go into more detail and explain why I think Time Crisis is a lot more, innovative than, say, Call of Duty, which, in all honesty, guys, I don't like Call of Duty. It's not that good. I mean, it's repetitive, it's boring, it's just not for me. I'm sorry, but you guys can hate on me all you want, but not gonna change the fact that I hate Call of Duty. Sorry. But anyways, on to the topic. Time Crisis is my favorite video game for the PlayStation, and let's see why. This title screen brings back so many memories. I mean, not only because Time Crisis is nostalgic as heck for me, but I'll admit, guys, this is one of the few shooter games that I like because it doesn't use pretty much any swears. I mean, I know, it's not very likely for someone to say that, but I personally do like shooter games that don't swear, and I try not to swear myself, in fact. However, one thing though I love about the original Time Crisis is that, compared to 2 and 3, which are better in their own rights, but 1 was what made 2 and 3, and even all your Call of Duty collection games, here in the first place, because it came way before Call of Duty did. Anyways, I love Time Crisis, as I've said millions of times before, but let's go into depth why. So the story is quite simple for a game, well, literally named Time Crisis. You'd think, it'd be some big, complicated plot, because, it has really cool words in it. But you know what? It actually isn't that complicated if you think about it. The simple story is this. You have the typical damsel in distress from the typical bad guy who's the guy in the white suit named Shirudo. He's kind of like an imperial tyrant guy, I guess, and for some reason he loves to use knives. And I don't know why, but he had to kidnap the president's daughter, who I still can't remember the name of, I swear. Also, this entire island thing with the clock tower, and that guy's wild dog is right-hand man, by the way, who's a merc, or a mercenary, I don't know. But I know he's definitely a mercenary according to Wikipedia. I love this game as a whole, and not only because it's one of the few games that utilize the gun con in probably one of the best ways possible. The gun con is the gun controller, in case you didn't figure that out already for the PlayStation. But I think that this game was the most fair. I mean, sure, there were other games that were definitely a lot better in terms of difficulty being fair, but this game was a fair shooter as a difficult game. I mean, Point Blank was fun, yes, but it wasn't that difficult to say the least, unless you played on the super hard stages, but I mean, come on, even medium's not that hard. Anyways, the simple gameplay is, well, the gameplay is quite simple. You just hide, you duck, you shoot, reload, etc. And as I was saying about the plot before, the plot isn't really that complicated. Like, you play as an agent named Richard Miller trying to stop Shirudo and Wild Dog from killing the girl that's the president's daughter. I'm sorry, I never remember her name. But Here's the thing though, unlike typical shooters these days, you're timed to do everything. Even after you get to the final boss and Rachel is, you know, kinda saved, I guess? I won't spoil what happens, but you're still timed there. And it doesn't make sense why, since you've already kind of saved Rachel, but you know what? It's called Time Crisis. It's gotta be timed. I mean, that's the name of the game, everybody. Come on. Not only does this game have extremely good graphics for the PS1, and a GunCon game, might I add. I mean, a lot of GunCon games weren't really as good in graphics, but this game, it kind of stands out to me. However, if I can complain about anything, it's the controls. I mean, guys, seriously now, if you don't have a gun controller or GunCon, I don't recommend playing Time Crisis. Not because it's hard or anything, but because when you're using a regular DualShock or just analog directional pad, just a regular PlayStation controller, it is so hard to aim. Like, it's all fine and dandy, but just that there's no sensitivity for the reticle or your aiming cursor, so you basically have to painstakingly slowly shoot everything, which wastes your time. Just a minor complaint, but it's still good. However, here's the problem. Unlike Time Crisis 2 and 3, where if you run out of time, it's just you lose a health, this game is a lot more cruel, because if you run out of time, it's game over. Immediately. And 60 seconds, while it is a lot, it's not as much as the game would probably expect. I mean, sure, the game expects you to get this done in 30 seconds, to say the least, or at least half of the time. But sometimes there's just so many sequences that can take way too long, and it kind of makes it cumbersome. Especially the second helicopter in Stage 3. That was difficult to get by on a controller. But I did it eventually, but believe me, it was mere luck that I did it. Anyways, I fight through some dudes and I get past the, you know, tricky segments where they have machine guns and cannons and grenades apparently. And I'm just taking them on with this simple pistol that has infinite clips of ammo but still needs to reload. Really, at this point, whatever. Anyways, I fight through the dudes who tried, you know, stop me from getting to the girl, the president's daughter girl. I don't know her name, I'm so sorry. I want to say it's like a Rebecca, I know it's something with an R in it. Anyways, I fight through some dudes and I get to the first boss. And while I admit the bosses are great in this game, well, most of them, this first boss was way too easy. So the Rebecca, president's daughter girl, gets thrown away. Or trapped, I don't know. And I come across the first boss, Moz, the Golden Ninja, who is actually really easy. I mean, sure. What did I expect from a guy who brings a claw to a gunfight? A melee weapon to a gunfight isn't the best option there, Moz. Come on, man. Anyways, I fight him, and I totally wreck him. I mean, seriously, he only takes 3 hits to kill. What the heck? Talk about a pushover. Man, these bosses, they gotta be really easy if they just die like that. Anyways, I punch on a wall where Rachel's bondage chair was. Then I interrogate Moss, who tells me the girl is at the top of the clock tower. She's probably dead by now. And I get mad at him and punch him across the face. Pathetic, wimpy first boss, but still, it was interesting to say the least. Anyways, Stage 2. Now, this is where the game does start to show a bit more of its cruel difficulty, because while the bosses in this game, or at least the ones I've showed you so far, they're really easy, this is where the game starts pulling out some of the hardest and most cruel timing you must ever do. I mean, for starters, not only are, you know, God, I'm sorry guys, it's so painful to talk about this because I love this game. Not only is the time starts at 40 when it should start at 60, which puts you at a clear disadvantage, but it's good God, I swear guys, I don't like saying stuff about this about my favorite game, but I don't want to be biased and, you know, that crud. So yeah, I fall through there and I apparently live the fall. Wonder why that was even there in the first place. Well, it's probably just there to trap me. Whatevs. Anyways, The game now starts, trying to, step up the difficulty, but I still kind of get through it, maybe taking a couple hits every now and then, but I still make it through. However, when I get to Area 2, this is where the game's critical timing in a time limit with overall sensitive aiming controls becomes a bit too hard for me. I mean, sure, it is a museum and it's got a lot of flashy stuff, but it's so hard to see what's coming and what isn't. And what else? Oh, I forgot to mention that there's so many guys to hit. Like, it wouldn't be a problem if, there was more extensions for your time, but I mean, dear lord, I did not expect there to be this many guys in one room. I mean, jeez Louise. Oh yeah, and right there they should have had a time extension, but nope. And the pillar fell down. Yay! Anyways, as I continue to bust through these dudes, I eventually, on my first run, that is when I first played this game, get my first game over. Not because of time, I mean, the time was extended a little bit here, so I could have... I had plenty of time, but my health was just draining. Like, literally, guys, I had literally 1 health point, and unlike Time Crisis 2, which this is another flaw of the game, you don't know when something's gonna hit you. Like, in Time Crisis 2, there'd be a red flash before the shot, and you could tell that's when they were gonna hit you, and it had to be lightning fast to dodge. But here, there's no flash. You gotta be uber careful. Like, it's kind of unfair because I kind of feel like I don't know what hits me. Like, sure, most of the things are seeable, but the guys don't shoot you that often. But what I will admit, dear lord, it's not a good aspect of the game. Sure, the guys have horrible aiming, and some of them, while they are 2 feet in front of me, can barely even hit me. I will admit, though, when they do manage to hit me, I don't know where their bullet exactly went. I mean, some of the bullets that in this video, which I didn't actually record, by the way, it's somebody else's, I feel like some of those shots would have definitely hit me, but you know what? It's Stormtrooper shots. What did I expect? They aim like a Stormtrooper. Yep. Anyways, continue fighting through the guys. A ninja guy comes up and tries to climb up those chandeliers, but we stop him in midair. But I didn't, to say the least. Then you get to this room with the hallway, and here's where it scared me. Boom! Mirror shot. That was actually pretty cool. Oh, when I was younger, that is. Anyways, now for Boss 2. Guess who it is? You think it's gonna be the right-hand man? You know what? You're wrong. It's actually the main villain. Shirudo takes you on as the second boss, which is kind of shocking considering he's the main villain. Anyways, he tells you that, Rachel is going to be, held hostage, yada 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 his plan, and he's gonna let it, and then he says, allow me to entertain you. And what confuses me is, why is this guy so hard? Like, seriously, this guy brings a knife to a gunfight! What the heck? Wow, anyways, this fight is really hard. And you know what? He has more guys than Maz helping him this time. Maz only had like 5 or 6 ninjas. Now you have probably about, I'd say, 7 or 10 gun guys and grenade guys. But Shirudo, being the knife-throwing jerk he is extremely accurate. Like, I would not think someone who throws knives would be more accurate than my own gun. I mean, seriously, guys. How is this guy so accurate at throwing daggers? And how does he just have infinite of them? I mean, I don't get it how he doesn't run out of those things. Meh, whatever. Anyways, he takes more hits to kill than Maz, which is good. But overall, he's still pretty hard. I mean, the boss difficulty just spiked. I mean, good golly. I kill Shirudo and he is dead, and I can celebrate now that I finally killed the big bad evil guy. The main villain is dead. Now to go rescue Mrs. President, daughter, girl, I don't remember. Uh-oh, there's more! Wild Dog, the right-hand man, as I explained before, now takes charge of Shirudo's forces because, he works for him. So he tells you, you killed my boss. Now I'm going to take charge of his forces and torment you. And, surely enough, he did. I mean, dear frickin' lord. Wild Dog is a great villain. And not to mention, he comes back in multiple Time Crisis games. Like, he's the most reoccurring villain. Yes, he came back even in Time Crisis 4. Like, he came back in Time Crisis 2, 3, and 4. I'm not sure about 5 because I haven't played it. But in those games, he came back, like, 3 times. Not to mention, with a robotic Gatling gun arm. Talk about quite a surgery there, Wild Dog. You must have been really devoted to hurting the agents. Anyways, this part of the game is definitely the hardest part. I mean, sure. These aren't, the hardest parts I'm showing you right now, but I'll admit, it gets harder when you see the helicopter. Oh my good golly, Miss Molly, the helicopter is an unfair fight. It's not even a boss, it's just a single enemy. And this part we have to shoot the cannons before they fire at you. It's hard to do with the gun control. Well, no, not with the gun controller. It's easy with the gun controller, but with the flippin', just the regular PlayStation controller, it's hard as heck. And this one's harder to hit too, because you have to hit right in the middle. Yay. Here's the helicopter, the part we have to be lightning fast at shooting, or you're gonna run out of time, get an instant game over. And you know what? I hate to admit it, but I kind of think this might even be harder than the final boss. Like, this took me more tries to beat than the final boss. Talk about quite a change. But the reason why it's so hard is not because it's hard to aim, but because it's so hard to shoot. Like in this game, the shoot button is square and the hide button is X, so it's a bit quirky. At least on the analog controller, but on a gun controller it's a lot more manageable. Anyways, fight through more dudes, get inside this lab factory place. Okay, I don't actually remember this to say the least. Like, I remember there was crates in here. Oh, wait, I see now. Okay, sorry. Anyways, fight through the dudes, shoot the crates, yada yada yada. Typical shooter stuff with a bunch of obstacles to avoid. And those crane things can actually come at you, so believe it or not, it's kind of cool to see, what other obstacles. Like the hooks in the first stage, how it said danger. They could actually hit you, which is kind of an interesting concept to say the least. Anyways, I epically struggle with more of Shirudo's forces controlled by Wild Dog. However, Rachel is still in need of a rescue, so I continue fighting through them, and I eventually get through this crate section of factory. I don't know what's even in the crates, so I'm not gonna ask. But, even though it's hard to admit, the crates are kind of easy to get hit by. I mean, sure, they're moving extremely slow, but because of their moving extremely slow, you'd expect them, to go faster when they get near you, and they can hit you at least anytime the crate is near the place where you come out. So if the crate is even if the crate is just partway through, it's like you hit the middle of the crate, it's still gonna hurt you, which kind of is a bad design choice in my opinion. But meh, it's probably just a limitation. Yep, limitations. Anyways, get to this lab part. Fight through all the dudes, and I don't know why this is a lab. I mean, what are they even experimenting on? I don't really get it. What are they trying to do? Come up with Shirudo as a antimatter demon lord, whatever? I mean, seriously now, what are the things that look like the TARDIS there for? Not the new TARDIS, the phone booth, the police booth, but the one that looked really old, that was steel and silver. I swear, why do those look like the TARDIS? Oh yeah, and there's guys inside of them. And now Wild Dog comes out. And you think, oh great, I can kill him. Nope, he's not gonna be... Oh wait! Did I forget to mention that Maz comes back? Yes, Maz comes back. And even though you kind of, punched him across the face, he comes back to try and face you off one last time. But you know what? This time, he's a little bit trickier, so it does kind of redeem him for being an easy first boss. Anyways, Wild Dog gets in the elevator and pulls the old, ha, I got you. You were too slow. So I get in an elevator right next to him and start chasing after him. Really slowly inside the elevator. Wait, this is a castle now? First a laboratory, then a factory, now a castle? What is this place? And it was a clock tower as well! You know what, I'm not even gonna bother anymore. Anyways, as Wild Dog tries to escape from me, as I pursue him so valiantly, even though I'm clearly fighting other guys, when I should be fighting him directly. And Wild Dog isn't even anywhere in this room. Whatever. Anyways, I go through a door and some stairs, and I find Wild Dog there about to escape in the helicopter with the president's daughter girl, who I still don't remember the name of today. And he tells me, guess what? You were close. Too bad. You're going down. And he makes the entire island, clock tower, just the entire castle, burn. Anyway, oh wait, I get it now. That's why you're timed in this part. Because the castle's burning. Okay, I'm sorry, I wish I noticed that a long time ago. Okay, well anyways, Wild Dog then is about to escape and bids you adieu as he's about to escape. The president's daughter girl, I still don't remember the name of, breaks free. And then Wild Dog, in a true moment of villainous history in video games, does the unthinkable action. He pulls the trigger to his gun and shoots the president's daughter girl that I still don't remember the name of to this date. As she lands, as the bullet makes impact, she falls into my arms, and I glare at Wild Dog as I think she is dead. Wild Dog throws off his jacket like a Sigma's cape in Mega Man X5, and we do one final showdown. And like Shirudo, it's super hard. Not as hard as the helicopter before, I'll admit, but Wild Dog is still hard. But compared to Shirudo was a cinch, but Wild Dog, dear lord, he is so much harder in comparison. I mean, sure, you know, he's got two pistols, and he is quite accurate with them. Not all the time, but he is quite accurate. But he has the most guys helping him. He has grenades as well as his two pistols. And not to mention, your time in this fight is gonna be very, very close to that 0 marker if you manage to do it. And let me tell you, this fight is really hard. Like, jeez Louise, guys. It took me long to get through this fight. Maybe not as long as the helicopter in stage 3. But this one was just so hard. I mean, I could only beat it with the unlimited continues in the, I want to say developer menu. But it was just so hard. In the helicopter, I had to use the developer cheat or developer menu to get, you know, the unlimited continues as well. But overall, it wasn't too bad. I mean, this is an awesome final showdown. A bit hard to say the least, but still fun. And I'll admit, Wild Dog is a great villain. I personally think he's one of the best villains in any shooter video game ever, and not to mention, he has one of the most awesome, but also memorable deaths I've ever seen in a video game of the shooter category. So, I shoot him some more, he keeps, you know, trying, you know, to fight me as the fire blocks my view, and as I fight him, he suddenly, as I fire one last bullet right into him, he drops that trigger he was going to use to blow up the castle with. And then, he blows up himself. God dang it, yes, that finisher is awesome. And I'll admit, Wild Dog in the later games, while you don't get the privilege of shooting him and then he accidentally, you know, kills himself, in the next couple games, he actually kills himself on purpose, because he knows he can come back with the more robotic, you know, parts. Anyways, I save the girl, even though she's still wounded, but alive, and we fly out of the burning and crumbling castle, and that is one of the greatest, but also memorable games I've ever played. Now, do I recommend you go and drop everything you're doing on your PS4, Xbox One, Switch, or whatever, to go pick up a copy of Time Crisis and play it on your old PS1 that's conveniently up in the rafters or attic? No, I don't. I mean, it's really outdated to say the least. But if you want a bit of nostalgia and a feel for an arcade game, but you don't have enough money to buy the actual machine, Time Crisis is the place to go. I am Quint866, everyone. See you next time, and have a good one.